I thought this team has shown that they're physically tougher than everyone, that they're mentally tougher than everyone. Yep. They have the best player in the NBA, and it's not just about him. I mean, it is because Jokic was incredible. He broke Miami's zone. He did everything you could ask for. But the role players on this team were also incredible in stepping up in these big moments. And you're not going to turn over everybody. Like, this core is going to be together. So when Michael Malone says, we're not just going to win one, I believe him. And I think they are going to be the next dynasty.
So I think you could have said everything you just said, and I've said this before on the show, you could say the same exact thing about the 2021 Bucks. They're the best player in the world in Giannis. They had stars around them. They were a cohesive team. They had role players who stepped up and were awesome. Guess what? They have not been back to the finals yet. The 2022 Golden State Warriors, there's no reason to think they were going to fall off. They were getting old.
The core is older.
Yeah, I mean, the core is older, but still, I think they were favorites coming into the season. We didn't know that Draymond was going to slug Jordan Poole. And, I'm just saying every year something happens. There's not such a wide gap between this Denver Nuggets team and the rest of the NBA. And you also forget the basic fact that everybody's going to now gear up specifically to stop Denver. So I don't know how long it'll take these teams to build to beat Denver, but that's why I don't think you're going to have a mini dynasty. You might poach another one next year. It might be one of those, the rest of the NBA is down a little bit. We'll get two, and we'll be known as a good title team. No dynasty. There's no way they get to three.
I'd love to be a big man this offseason because if you're a free agent, you're going to get paid. This is your time. You might have think that the NBA is passed by the big man. No, because Miami was too small in this finals, and it showed. But
by the way, if you have an itch at the end of your name, an IC, Nurkic, Vucevic, you are going to Golden State and you go to Miami, and you are going to be the Joker stopper.
Okay, so here's the thing, though, about them, that this wasn't like a particularly dominant run. 16-4 and 10-1 in the last two rounds of the finals.
And who they beat?
Well, they beat the Lakers. LeBron James, the greatest player of all time, / 1A.
7 seed.
But 7 seed, though, just like Miami is an 8 seed, not in name only.
In name only, yeah, because they were really an 11 seed that got hot at the last seed. There was nothing in name only about the Lakers 7 seed this year. They were not a dominant team. Rui Hachimura was their third best player. He was the fourth best player on the Washington Wizards.
Okay, but they had someone named LeBron and someone named Anthony Davis. And so they had two of the top, 15 players in the NBA? I mean, all those games were tight, too. It's just that Denver won them all and swept them, and then only obviously lost one game to the Miami Heat. 10-1 in your last two, that's pretty dominant.
No, it was definitely dominant, but this definitely was a down road. I mean, there's no way you can avoid that. There was just a combination of injuries and teams that were having chaos. This is not going to go down as a hard path to the finals.
Yeah, because there's no drama ever in the NBA. I mean, next year it's just going to be different types of drama.
Except that it could be in Denver. It could be another injury in Denver. You never know. There's so much that can happen between now and the finals. And the way it is in the NBA right now, that's just something is always happening. Denver won, 54 games? I know they took their foot off the pedal, but Golden State, when their run, was winning between 60 and 73 games.
Yeah, but no one's doing that anymore. I know it wasn't that long ago, but this load management is real.
But no one's repeating anymore. It's a different champion every year. And it's really more than a state of the league thing to me than actually looking at Denver. Just these teams are so close. And there's also, the Heat were specifically poorly designed for Denver, right? I mean, they were just way too small.
Let's hear a little from Michael Malone, now champion head coach with the Denver Nuggets, but not satisfied with one.
All the hard work, all the sacrifice, all the dedication, all culminated with us winning a championship. But I got news for everybody out there. We're not satisfied with one. We want more. We want more.
I mean, had the champagne even set in yet? I don't even think they popped a bottle yet. That was like something usually we hear a little bit down the line, not 45-second one commercial break after you just won the title.
We want more. We want more.
I like it.
Whipping the crowd into a frenzy.
Yeah, I mean, listen, they have the pieces, but I don't know. I felt like things fell the right way this year. You don't feel that way? You feel like this team is inevitable? Yeah, give me a number.
I think they win 3. If you keep Mike Malone, Jokic, and Jamal Murray with like Aaron Gordon. I can't count on Michael Porter Jr. The guy's had 3 back surgeries in 5 years, has a rod in his back. Like, I can't.
Pretty young dude, though.
I know, but imagine 3 back surgeries in 5 years, like what that would be like for an average human being, let alone a professional athlete. He got a ring now. He's got paid, so he's set for life. I don't know if he's going to be part of the core forever. And really, Bruce Brown is kind of like the one guy who's a free agent who they might lose. But if you can keep Murray, if you can keep KCP, again, Malone, Jokic, like I think this is a battle-tested team. So here's the one thing, though, that I found myself thinking while I was watching the celebration last night. Jokic was not celebrating. There was no celebration with Jokic. The 2-time MVP, he wins finals MVP. It looked like he had just won a Tuesday night game in February, like in Sacramento. There was no, I think he cracked a smile later at some point. It was documented by somebody thinks they saw something, according to sources, maybe a smile. No teeth, though.
Yeah, it's called acting like you've been there before, Maggie. It's what great players like me and Jokic do.
I'm sure. But acting like you've been there, or also acting like, hello, have a pulse. I mean, here's the thing. We've seen guys, Murray, his own teammate, Aaron Gordon, tears just streaming down their faces. I mean, some of our great NBA memories, Michael Jordan hugging the trophy like it was a person. I mean, crying. LeBron James, Cleveland, this is for you. Kevin Garnett, anything is possible. I'm so used to guys just being an emotional, tsunami in the moment. And with Jokic, you got absolutely none of it. He didn't even go hug his teammates when the final buzzer went off. He went over to congratulate the Heat. I mean, refreshing, I guess.
Class move. Class move,
great. But it's weird to see no emotion from the guy who's the best player in the league right now.
Some players are cut out like that. Kawhi, obviously, shows no emotion, famously. When he laughs, it sounds weird. I seem to remember Larry Bird, after he won, did not seem like he cared. Like it was just, let's go drink a 12-pack of beer. I think he reacted like Jokic. Like it was like, all right, job's done. Let's move on.
Okay, but there was a legend about Larry Bird.
Right.
A legendary competitiveness.
Right.
Where it was almost like that reputation preceded him. So even if he was stoic, it was like, that's part of it. That's part of Larry. He's the assassin. He'll never let you see him happy or upset. You know, Larry walking the All-Star game, which one of you guys is going to come in second? Jokic doesn't have that mystique about him either, that he's some assassin, who's just stone-faced because he doesn't want to give his opponent any kind of indication of what he's thinking. Well, he's just got nothing.
What about Duncan? What's the difference between him and Duncan?
I went back to 1999 just to see what the celebration was like when the Spurs won in 99. And Duncan's in the middle of the dog pile jumping around with everybody. I mean, I went back and looked at the film.
Oh, okay.
Jokic is funny to me. It was noticeable, put it that way. You must have noticed it too.
Well, yeah, I mean, he had that funny line that everyone was talking about. Our job is done, now I can get out of here. Yeah, he clearly does not care about America or American basketball. He just wants to go home and ride his horses. We all know that about Jokic. But it doesn't take anything away from him. It makes him, in a way, more likable. Yeah, it doesn't. But it's also guys are cut out like this. Nick Saban is so much like this. Like, the second he wins a title, he famously picks up his phone and starts calling recruits, barely even smiles.
No, but that's also, I think, that's like a fear that comes up, I'm on top. I can't let my opponents, think that I'm weak.
But it's just also a personal style of expression. Like Nick Saban never shows any jubilation, but Belichick too never shows. You're right. Belichick and Saban are out of sheer terror, disappointing their fathers. It's a different thing going on.
Something's going on.
But the way that they emote is just different. I think just Jokic is maybe a little more inscrutable than you're saying. I think that maybe he feels some of that stuff inside, but he does not let it out like a emotional American or Canadian in this case.
Yeah, right. There was just no catharsis or I've done it, or all that work I've put in, it's been finally worth it. All the things we generally see when guys win.
Yeah, but he's the big guy. The big foreign guy in every movie is like, me get basketball and dunk. They don't they don't care.
This is real life. Wait, let's hear Jokic rather than do the accent. Here's Jokic talking about, he really hopes he can go home soon.
You got a parade coming up here on Thursday.
Yes.
How soon till you're back in sophomore?
On Sundays I have my horse racing in my
horse racing. I was going to get to that. The horse racing.
I don't know how we're going to arrive. Thursday parade, Friday maybe.
this is like a logistical nightmare for him. He just won the title. But how am I going to get home? The horses. I mean, I'm assuming he's on a private jet at least to Serbia.
What if the series went 6 or 7 games? He was just going to go home?
I know. Good point, Stu.
for the horse race.
He was probably really hoping for a sweep so he could get there in time.
But
Parade would have been yesterday.
If we look back at history, there's got to be a ton of players who didn't want to go to the parade, who were just like, this is not me. I don't want to do this thing.
A ton of players? I don't know. I think people like the victor goes the spoils.
Well,
you get the parade, you get all this. Who doesn't like being patted on the back for a job well done?
Kawhi Leonard looks like he was going to the dentist, I imagine, at the parade. Like for Kawhi, I just think that it's a personal style that I think there might be something hidden layers below Jokic's baby fat. There levels of emotion.
Personal.
No, you know what I mean. Actually, he's pretty skinny right now. But I think that he's just wired differently, or I think it's all there. That's what I'm saying. I think it is there, Maggie.
Yeah, like what makes, because here's the thing. I imagine being great. He's a great. He's an all-time great. That can be lonely in a lot of ways because no one else is getting out of bed at 4 a.m. probably in your life to go lift weights. You're the one who has to push yourself at a certain time to push yourself past your competition. To make yourself better than anyone else. I'm idealizing romanticizing
I think you watch way too many sports movies, Maggie, because
I've listened to Kobe all these years.
I think half of them spent the entire offseason going to the club and waking up at 10 o'clock.
This is the James Harden story. No, that's why he never wins.
I mean, again, Larry Bird, you think he lifted a single weight his entire NBA career in the offseason? One single weight. Do you think he lifted a 10-pound dumbbell?
Something has to make you want to get better and be great. And for him, Jokic, that is, it doesn't seem like it's winning titles. So what is it?
No, it's just
for so many guys, it's winning. For Michael Jordan, it's winning. I think for LeBron, it's winning. These guys have been in Tom Brady. It's insatiable. They can't do anything else. They're obsessed. And Jokic is just like, ha, ha, ha.
Let's see. I mean, you think Tim Duncan was obsessed with winning like this?
I think Tim Duncan had to be obsessed with basketball.
I don't think so at all.
You think he was obsessed with what, video games?
I mean, I think he wanted to go back to Nassau and go swimming. I think that's all he thought about. Yeah, I mean, Duncan reminds me so much of Jokic. Their reaction, I think it's a big man thing too. I don't think you need to, when you're Kobe, you have to outwork everybody because you can't just do a sky hook over a guy you're 6 inches taller than.
Yeah.
I don't know. We argue about this all the time. I think the big guys are wired much differently than the Jordans and the Kobes of the world. But
you still have to add things to your game. You still have to evolve. You still have to become a better player. Listen, Jokic came into the league as a second-round pick, the 41st pick in the draft. He had to get better. He had to get his body right. He had to improve.
Yeah.
They didn't make the playoffs the first 3 years he was in the league. Now he's a 2-time MVP and a Finals MVP. Something has to make this guy want to be better, and it doesn't seem like it's winning titles. That's fascinating to me. I don't get it.
I don't know. It's just the big man thing. I mean, if he wasn't 6'11", he was 6'4", he would have to do all that. But he's gigantic. And he's got all the skill, and he can't miss a shot. I mean, he just throws it in the general direction of the rim, and it goes in. What can he improve on? He can't add any more moves. He's got all these little dipsy-do, one-legged, 8-foot shots. What can he possibly add to his game?
There's got to be something. 855-212. He is a finished product. 855-212-4CBS. 855-212-4227. You can weigh in your most memorable moment from the finals last night, if there was a memorable moment. There was some questionable calls. There were some amazing defensive plays. You're right, though. The Jokic highlight reel is really something. It's a lot of breaking that zone right in the middle of the paint, right in the middle of the free throw line, basically. Yeah,
and Miami was so lazy on defense. Kyle Lowry would be single covering him, and they'd be like, "Nah, we're not going to help. We're just exhausted at the altitude."
How about Lowry, though, trying to make shot after shot? And we'll get to Jimmy Butler.
Oh, Lowry's the only single player. If they went to a doctor's office, they would register any heart whatsoever on that entire roster. What happened to the Heat last night? I bet on the Heat last night, by the way. But, I mean,
we talked about the Nuggets money line yesterday.
Yeah, I know.
How juicy it was.
I bet on the Heat's win line. I changed my mind. I something right before the game, I'm like, you know what? The refs are going to give this one to the Heat because they wanted to go longer. I fell into your conspiracy theory. And they did. They tried. Trust me, they tried.
No, you just tried to will into existence that Maggie wouldn't be exempt from the Spicy Nugget Challenge.
That's what I'm about to.
Yes, as if yesterday wasn't proof of my dedication to the food challenges enough when I ate an entire jar of jelly. Like, the sports god spared me yesterday, is how I looked at it. This was the Scott Foster of heaven, whoever that was, manipulated this and gave it to me so I wouldn't have to eat the spicy nuggets. That was a bone thrown to me.
Yeah, so now me and Nick in Texas, listener, will eat spicy nuggets.
Yep.
Oh, boy.
Oh, boy. I wish I could pick out the sauce. But we're all going to agree on the sauce. But I wish I could, especially right around the time yesterday as I'm 3/4 of the way through a jar of strawberry jelly and Perloff shows me on his laptop the scene in Stand By Me where everyone throws up all over each other. That made me want to give you the Carolina Reaper right then. Which also sounds like a wrestling finishing move.
I love it. Yeah, you're so familiar now with Pepper Talk because we've been working on this challenge for a while. I wanted to give you the Carolina Reaper right now. I mean, 2 months ago, you would not have known what that sentence meant.
2 weeks ago.